Stories woven through the years, faith and strength through joys and tears. Women called, their voices bright, walking boldly in God's light. Oh, rise and shine, their stories live. Faithful hearts, so much to give. From the past, their voices say, God is working still today. Daughters strong, their light still gleams, guiding us through hope and dreams.
Welcome back to Daughters of Grace, Women of the Bible. We're so glad you're here as we continue walking through the powerful story of Ruth and Naomi, a story filled with love, loss, hope, and ultimately redemption. Today we open chapter 3, and something shifts. The season is changing, not just from harvest to rest, but in the lives of these two women. Naomi begins to see more than survival. She begins to hope for restoration. And Ruth? Well, Ruth takes a bold step of faith. Let's open our Bibles and dive into this beautiful chapter together. Verses 1 through 5, Naomi's plan. Verse 1. One day, Ruth's mother-in-law Naomi said to her, "My daughter, I must find a home for you where you will be well provided for." Naomi's heart is changing. Remember, she once called herself bitter, but now she's thinking about Ruth's future. She wants her to have security, provision, and a home. Verse 2. Now Boaz, with whose women you have worked, is a relative of ours. Tonight he will be winnowing barley on the threshing floor. In ancient Israel, the threshing floor was an outdoor space where grain was separated from the chaff after the harvest. Boaz would be there working and likely sleeping nearby to protect his crop. Verse 3. Wash, put on perfume, and get dressed in your best clothes. Then go down to the threshing floor, but don't let him know you are there until he has finished eating and drinking. Naomi gives Ruth a very detailed plan. This wasn't about seduction, but a cultural act of humility and trust. By changing clothes and washing, Ruth was signaling she was no longer in mourning. She was ready for a new chapter. Verse 4. When he lies down, note the place where he is lying, then go and uncover his feet and lie down. He will tell you what to do. Now this sounds strange to us today, but in ancient times, uncovering a man's feet and lying there was a symbolic way to ask for protection and covering. It was a quiet way of saying, I am available for marriage under the law of the kinsman redeemer. Verse 5, I will do whatever you say, Ruth answered. Once again, we see Ruth's quiet strength and complete trust. She listens, she honors Naomi's wisdom, and she's ready to follow God's path. Before we move into the next part of the story, let's pause for a moment and talk about this idea Naomi mentioned earlier, something called the kinsman redeemer or guardian redeemer. In ancient Israel, a kinsman redeemer was a close male relative with the responsibility and sometimes the privilege of redeeming or restoring what had been lost in a family. This could include buying back land that had been sold due to poverty, caring for a widow, or even marrying a deceased relative's widow to ensure the family name and legacy continued. It was part of God's law, designed to protect the vulnerable and keep families from falling into permanent loss or poverty. See Leviticus 25. 25, and Deuteronomy 25, 5-10. It was not just a legal arrangement, it was an act of compassion and commitment. A kinsman redeemer stepped in when no one else could, restoring honor, security, and hope to those who had been left with nothing. So, when Naomi tells Ruth to go to Boaz, she's not sending her to chase romance. She's sending her to step into a divine provision already built into God's design for care and redemption. And beautifully, this role of the Redeemer becomes a symbol of Jesus Christ, who stepped into our brokenness and paid the ultimate price to restore what was lost and make us whole again. Verses 6 through 13, a midnight conversation. Verse 6, so she went down to the threshing floor and did everything her mother-in-law told her to do. Verse 7, when Boaz had finished eating and drinking and was in good spirits, he went over to lie down at the far end of the grain pile. Ruth approached quietly, uncovered his feet, and lay down. This is such a quiet, vulnerable moment. Ruth isn't barging in. She's humbly presenting herself in accordance with tradition. Verse 8, in the middle of the night, something startled the man. He turned, and there was a woman lying at his feet. Verse 9, who are you? He asked. I am your servant Ruth, she said. Spread the corner of your garment over me, since you are a guardian redeemer of our family. Ruth does something bold here. She steps out in faith, asking Boaz not just for protection, but for redemption. This phrase, spread the corner of your garment, symbolizes a request for marriage and covering. The Hebrew word for corner is the same word used for wings. Just like in chapter 2, when Boaz prayed that God would shelter Ruth under his wings. Now Ruth is asking Boaz to be the answer to that very prayer. Verse 10, the Lord bless you, my daughter, he replied. This kindness is greater than that which you showed earlier. You have not run after the younger men, whether rich or poor. Boaz is deeply moved. He recognizes Ruth's loyalty and selflessness. Verse 11, and now, my daughter, don't be afraid. I will do for you all you ask. All the people of my town know that you are a woman of noble character. That's one of the highest compliments. Ruth, a foreigner, is known and respected in the town for her character, not her background. Verse 12, although it is true that I am a guardian redeemer of our family, there is another who is more closely related than I. Verse 13, stay here for the night, and in the morning, if he wants to do his duty as your guardian redeemer, good. Let him redeem you. But if he is not willing, as surely as the Lord lives, I will do it. Lie here until morning. Boaz wants to do the right thing, not just the convenient thing. He honors the law and trusts God's process. That's integrity. This moment between Ruth and Boaz is one of the most tender and symbolic in all Scripture. Ruth, a widow and a foreigner, humbly asks Boaz to spread the corner of his garment over her, a gesture rich with meaning. It's not just a cultural request, it's a request for redemption, belonging, and grace. That phrase, spread the corner of your garment, echoes the blessing Boaz spoke earlier, when he said Ruth had come to take refuge under the wings of the Lord. Now Ruth is asking Boaz to become a part of that refuge, to be the answer to the very prayer he once spoke over her. This next song is inspired by that sacred moment when faith meets grace and a bold heart steps forward in trust. It's called Cover Me with Grace. May it speak to you as it speaks of all who have dared to ask God for redemption and refuge under his wings. Here is our original song, Cover Me with Grace.
I've walked through deserts dry and white, with burdens in my hands, still longing for a place to rest. feel your gentle presence. I lay my heart before you now. In quiet, sacred space, and lift a whispered prayer to you. Cover me with grace. Cover me with grace. Cover me with grace. Oh, cover me with grace. Let your mercy be my song. You're the shelter all along. Cover me with grace. Cover me with grace. You see the tears I never speak, the fears I try to hide. You know the roads I've walked alone, the aching deep inside. Your riches bring me to your feet. No strength, no perfect face, but still you open wide your arms and wrap me in your embrace. Cover me with grace. Cover me with grace. Cover me with grace. Oh, cover me with grace. Let your mercy be my song. You're the shelter all along. Cover me with grace. Cover me with grace. And in the stillness of the night, you whisper, you are mine. You clothe me not with shame or fear, but love that's full and kind. Cover me with grace. Cover me with grace. Oh, cover me with grace. Let your mercy be my song. You're the shelter all along. Cover me with grace. Cover me with grace. Oh, 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 oh. Cover me with grace. Cover me. Cover me in with grace.
14 through 18, waiting for redemption. Verse 14, so she lay at his feet until morning, but got up before anyone could be recognized. And he said, no one must know that a woman came to the threshing floor. Boaz is protecting Ruth's reputation. Nothing improper happened, but he wants to shield her from gossip. Verse 15, he also said, bring me the shawl you are wearing and hold it out. When she did so, he poured into it 6 measures of barley and placed the bundle on her. Then he went back to town. Once again, Boaz sends a gift of provision and a message. He doesn't send Ruth back empty-handed. Verse 16, when Ruth came to her mother-in-law, Naomi asked, how did it go, my daughter? Then she told her everything Boaz had done for her. Verse 17, and added, he gave me these 6 measures of barley, saying, don't go back to your mother-in-law empty-handed. Boaz's kindness isn't just about Ruth. It's about honoring Naomi too. He's sending a message of hope to both women. Verse 18, then Naomi said, wait, my daughter, until you find out what happens, for the man will not rest until the matter is settled today. Naomi knows Boaz is a man of action. The next step is coming quickly. Closing reflections. Chapter 3 is a beautiful chapter of courage, character, and quiet faith. It's about a woman who steps into an unknown future with confidence in God and a man who responds with honor and respect. But let's take a moment to pause and reflect on what life was really like in that time. During the harvest season, communities worked from sunrise to sunset, threshing grain, storing it, and preparing for the months ahead. People lived day to day, and food security was tied directly to the success of the harvest. Their diet was simple. Mostly barley, wheat, figs, lentils, olives, dates, honey, and goat's milk. Meat was rare and often reserved for special occasions. The threshing floor wasn't just a place to process grain. It was also a time of community gathering, singing, resting, storytelling, and yes, watching over the harvest through the night. Life was hard for women like Ruth. In that culture, a widow without children or a male protector was especially vulnerable. But God saw her, and He didn't just meet her needs. He wrote her into a bigger story of redemption. This chapter also reminds us that sometimes faith means stepping into the unknown, humbling ourselves, and asking for what we need, not with arrogance, but with trust. And sometimes our boldest moments of faith happen in the quietest places, on the threshing floor, at someone's feet, in the middle of the night. God honors faith like that, and He still writes redemption stories today. So wherever you are in your journey, take heart. You are not forgotten. God sees you. Grace is in motion, even if you can't see the end yet.
Joys and tears. Women called, their voices bright, walking boldly in God's light. Oh, rise and shine, their stories live. Faithful hearts, so much to give. From the past, their voices say, God is working still today. Daughters strong, their light still gleams, guiding us through hope and dreams.